All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Traversing the Veil. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D games set in my weird, messed up homebrew cookie campaign setting, and the people below me should probably review their decision making. And apparently, Elias saw that, Jax. I have no idea what she saw, or he saw. Sorry, Elias. But, hi everybody! I am absolutely outside of my mind right now because my sleep schedule has gone completely... Let me put it this way. I went to bed this morning at about 3 in the afternoon and woke up about 2 minutes before I had to start the Zoom call for this. So, yeah. Announcements. I have spoken with someone at ZU, whom shall remain nameless, Mary. It's looking like the D&D character sheets that Imp and I built during my randomizer run for ZU-thon will be getting published relatively soon, so you guys can see and actually use the 5th edition character sheets we built, which I had a lot of fun doing. I think Imp tolerated it. So
I was the one doing it while we were discussing, so...
He was actually building the character sheets. I was dying a lot in a Zelda
I made them
randomizer.
on my account. I made them on my D&D Beyond account, Bill.
So, yeah, it was super fun. I'm really happy with how they turned out. And who knows, when they do get published, maybe there'll be some extra special stuff. So you definitely want to check out
You too can play Tingle.
Yes, everyone has always wanted to play Tingle in D&D.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. In addition, the 1D&D playtest rules have been out for a little over half a month now. The feedback opens tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah.
For the first
God,
set of
please
playtest
let
stuff.
it be what's actually printed and not what people are talking about.
It's I now have 2 videos out on it, and for the most part, I don't think it's nearly as bad as the catastrophizing masses are making it out to be. There's some interesting decisions. Apparently, I think Crawford or someone was talking about, someone that actually made the rules was talking about it on one of their interviews and mentioned like the whole thing that DMs can't crit anymore, quote unquote. Isn't 100% true, but the intention as of right now is that monsters will no longer be able to crit.
And that was a loose discussion they were talking about as they're right now between Todd Kendrick and them as soon as the 1D&D was announced. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why the people that were paying attention to that badly referenced it, that magic couldn't crit, because he talked about examining the potential for taking crits away from spells in regards to balancing that. And it was just a discussion. It wasn't stated anywhere else. He was talking about a possibility he thought was interesting to examine.
Well,
and people ran with that, and now they're...
You know, I'm not 100% against the
DMs
idea.
Can't crit anymore. DMs can't crit anymore.
I'm not against the idea of critting becoming something that's exclusive to weapon attacks. Just because, again, magic is already so powerful that giving melee characters something special is cool. Like I've been playing around in 4th edition a lot, and 4th edition by far is the absolute best D&D edition that makes martial characters as powerful as spellcasting characters due to their power system. And it's a really fun system because of that. And 5th edition did a lot of things right, but they made a step back in the balance between martial and spellcasting characters. And I've seen a lot of other systems try and find ways to make martials feel as powerful and as special as spellcasters, and no one has really gotten it 100% right. Like Star Wars 5e has like a maneuver system that allows martials to do kind of special things that only martial classes can do. So that's kind of a step in one direction. This kind of making crit something exclusive to martial abilities might be another way that I think is kind of interesting. But they also need to make it that the bad guys get the same thing. You know, the idea of the players getting to play by different rules than the bad guys always makes a game feel unbalanced and feel unfair. So,
and again, the only reason I'm not flipping out like everyone else is because it's Unearthed Arcana. It's their playtesting.
It's the playtest. I bring this up in both of my videos about this, and every time I talk about it. In the original version of D&D Next, which eventually turned into 5th edition, there were no skills. They intentionally took out skills because they didn't like how complicated the skill system had become since 3rd and 4th edition. Where 3rd edition had like 24 or like 30 different skills, and each one you had to invest skill points in or they were worthless. 4th edition was slightly better, but still had like 20 some odd skills. It was just madness. And so 5th edition, they decided that we're not going to use skills. You're just going to make ability score checks. And people didn't like it, and it didn't work with the system. And if you've played 5th edition ever, you will notice there are skills in 5th edition. Because they tried something, it didn't work, and they changed it. And that's the entire purpose of the playtest, is it should be weird. They should be doing things that seem wrong and seem broken, because
they are.
Failure is a much better teacher than success will ever be. So
yeah, trial and error.
I was there when it was D&D Next. I still got my, you and I got those dice.
Yeah, I have it in my dice bag over there, but yeah,
I think I still have the pin.
I think those are the Gen Con dice, right? The ones that you.
No, I got these at PAX.
Oh, at Gen Con, those particular dice, you actually had to earn them. The 1 year I was able to go to Gen Con, and so you had to play in the D&D Next playtest.
That's how I got it.
I think you had to do some. I think you also had to build a character as well. And so if you did those two things, they gave you a free set of.
I recall when I did it. I recalled getting a pre-gen, but it was like you name your character and whatnot. But they were.
I think it was a pre-gen. I remember I played a monk, and
I was a rogue. I was a halfling too.
I still have a picture on my Facebook of the first advantage roll I ever saw, because everyone at the table was brand new to D&D Next, and so the dungeon master goes, okay, well, this is a new mechanic for D&D Next. It's called advantage. So what I want you to do is I want you to roll 2d20, and you're going to take the higher of those two for this roll because you have advantage on it. And so the guy rolls double ones. And so I still have a picture. I'm like, the first advantage roll any of us have ever seen, because we were all brand spanking new, and it's double ones. D&D Next gets an approval from me. So yeah. Anyway, so if you're unaware, 1D&D is the bad name that Wizards of the Coast has decided they're going to try and push, which no one is going to use and no one is using right now.
I would say the bad one is D and Done.
Yeah.
Well, that's the name of my series.
I know.
But yeah, it's technically the new editionless edition, which when it finally publishes in 2024 is going to be 5.5.
I don't understand why their marketing immediately went to, we're calling it 1D&D. Great. Why did your marketing switch then? You're already trying to sell the name and you're already screwing it up.
Yep.
That's what happened with D&D Next. Like, again, the entire purpose of D&D Next is like, this isn't 5th edition, this is D&D Next. It's going to be a brand, like, literally, this is the exact same script they used when they launched D&D Next. And it didn't work the last time. I don't know if they got new marketing people.
And Advanced D&D.
Did they do that? No, because
Well, no, because how long did we call it Advanced D&D? We just called it D&D. We just stopped calling it Advanced.
Well, no, I mean, because all the marketing and everything because technically Advanced D&D was the 0.5 version of 2nd and 1st edition, and they were actually different systems. Like, Advanced D&D 2nd edition had different classes, and kits were part of that. So it actually was different. But it was basically different in the same way that 3.5 was different than 3, or the Essentials series was different than Basic 4th Edition. It's the same thing here. This is D&D 5.5. That's all it's going to be. And people have already, like, literally the day of the announcement, I went to Reddit, the r/D&D Reddit, just to see what people are saying. And everyone's like, oh, look, D&D 5.5. So, we already know what the name is going to be. But the marketing people at Wizards are like, no, we can call it what we want. And the player base will listen to us. Ho!
I said
I
it
don't know
once.
why marketing is run by Mickey Mouse, but...
I said it once in another stream. I'm going to say it again. Y'all, you're funny as hell, and you're showing your lack of knowledge by saying they stole from Pathfinder 2. Second edition. Y'all are funny, and you don't realize it.
It's just people that are... The Pathfinder people are still upset that Pathfinder was only popular... was only quote unquote beating D&D for about 9 months when it was actively competing against D&D, and now at one point 4th edition was actually more popular than Pathfinder. Shortly, like the year that 2nd edition came out, because it effectively split the player base. Roll20 releases almost every year how many of what games are being played, and it went D&D, 5th edition, Call of Cthulhu, 4th edition, and then Pathfinder 2nd edition, and a bunch of other ones. And it was really, really funny with all the Pathfinder people. It's like, no, we're super popular. It's like, 4th edition likes better. Also, I really like 4th edition, so... Anyway, it was my first tabletop edition. You guys want to play some, like, Dungeons and Dragons? Does that sound cool?
Yes.
Alright, so I think it's time for us to return to Traversing the Veil. Abia can be a complicated place. As much as it seems to be a lawless free-for-all, there are rules, there are regulations, and there are understood practices. The party learned very quickly exactly how well these rules are enforced when they had an unfortunate interaction with a local group of the thieves. Unfortunately for the thieves, they stepped on the wrong toes, and the party was eventually contacted by Anonymity, the Assassin's Guild that co-runs the city of Ebia. After dealing with these would-be assassins, the party met a new person, an Eladrin with a massive spear named Arai. After getting payment, Arai decided to stick around with the group, seeing as they presented new opportunities for exploration and adventure. And when the party returned back to their ship, payment in hand, they were approached by another person they'd never met before. This person invited them to dinner with the head of the Thieves Guild. So the party started preparing, started coming up with ideas of exactly what to do. Reggie went out to do some scouting and got a reminder of things from his past. And then everyone returned to the ship to prepare for dinner later that night. So, and the rest of the party went looking for a magic shop and found it deserted, and Arai touched something that she probably shouldn't have. So,
Before he could go, I immediately regret my decision.
So Arai,
You have died.
You're all gonna watch
Roll a new
Jack roll up a new character.
No. Arai, your body is kind of covered in that feeling of pins and needles, like every muscle in your body fell asleep and is slowly waking up. It is remarkably uncomfortable for you. Your eyes are not accustomed to the darkness that surrounds you, so currently you are completely blind. There's nothing but darkness around you, and as you kind of forcefully blink and try to get your eyes to focus, you so slowly start seeing little bits of definition in front of you. You seem to be in a room. There is no light in here, but there seems to be a little bit of ambient light coming from some cracks in the walls. You can see just the tiniest specks of light coming through, and it's giving you enough light that your eyes are starting to adjust. Looking around, you are in a brick room that looks to have been relatively hastily built. Brick and stone, mortar kind of things. It seems relatively old-ish, and from your experience of joining your family on digs, you can see that this isn't really ancient ruins or anything like that. This is poorly built things that have decayed over time. But it's solid enough that you're not worried about the roof caving in. There's a little bit of dripping water around. The room itself has a musty smell to it, and it's relatively humid, but also relatively cold. And so the air itself feels almost kind of like a wet blanket, just kind of hanging around you. The room itself is small, barely about 5 foot by 10 foot. It's a very, very small room. You can see on one side of the room there is a chest, footlocker style thing, and then there is also a wardrobe there. The wardrobe is open and mostly empty. You can see the remnants of scraps and other things in there where obviously something was stored in there for a while. And the chest itself is closed currently. And then at the far side of the room, there is a hallway that barely about 5 feet into the hallway turns into complete darkness, as the ambient light from in here doesn't reach far enough. What would you like to do?
Does it look like anyone has been around? Like,
go ahead
there
and make.
recently?
I'll let you choose between insight and perception.
Well, I get to choose between 0 and 0, so. I don't remember why it does the 2. What? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. My bad. Hold on 1 second.
That's fine.
In the meantime, the rest of the party.
Well, our eyes dead. What do you want to do?
By the way, the reason it does that in Roll20 is Roll20 is defaulted to automatically roll advantage on everything. On your character sheet, if you click on the cog, you can turn that off.
Okay, cool. Then I will do that.
Traditionally, people will leave that on. They just go with the first roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Roll20 character sheets for 5th edition are a bit hit or miss.
Yeah.
But there's like a dozen of them, so you spend enough time, you'll find one that you like. I still prefer the D&D Beyond ones. They're a lot smoother situations. So what do you got for me, Arai?
I rolled a 1, so I got a 4.
No.
Oh no.
So
You switched over to platform and you rolled lower.
so you're still kind of like you're slamming your shoulders into the walls every so often to try and get your muscles to wake up faster. And looking around, your brain is fuzzy as well, and so trying to figure out much of anything in here is just not working. You're so overwhelmed by the kind of sensory overload and the strange experience, because you're very familiar with teleportation. It's kind of your thing. This is unlike any teleportation you've ever done before.
Yeah, it's spiky.
And your first thought is something was broken in that. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind, because this is not how it should feel. So, with that, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna have Uriah sit down and wait for the feeling to come back into the rest of his body.
Okay. So it takes the better part of about 5 minutes for it to finally get to the point where you're no longer, like, every time you move, you get those kind of spikes of fuzziness. Now you're feeling pretty good. It still tingles a little bit, but you're to the point where it's no longer extremely uncomfortable.
Okay, wonderful. And opening the door.
As of
Can I
right
get
now,
a
you
sense?
don't see any doors. You just see a
Oh.
hallway that descends into
Sorry.
darkness.
That's right. And the ambient light was filtering from
A
I'm sorry,
crack
just finish
in the roof,
just
actually.
a crack. Okay.
And this is a poorly constructed brick and stone work room.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna have Arai sort of like take a step back and take his pike and see if he can like basically enlarge the hole that the light is coming through.
Okay. As you start to kind of mess with it and get your pike shoved in there, a few of the stonework and bricks start to fall, and it starts causing the rest of the room to start to collapse as well. Why don't you make me a dex save?
Uh, 16.
All right. So as things start falling and you start realizing that the already poorly built room is now becoming a poorly collapsed room, you immediately dive for the doorway, and you watch as a large portion of the ceiling just kind of collapses in, and again your eyes are kind of attacked with a brand new source of light, as now there's about a 1.5 2 foot wide hole in the ceiling, and sunlight is now peering into the room. You can see a lot better than you could before, but it takes a while for your eyes to adjust.
Okay. Can I see, is there more light now filtering in the hallway where I can sort of get an idea of what?
Yeah, you can see the hallway does eventually kind of descend into darkness again. It's a long hallway, but about 30 feet down you can now see it is this weird kind of winding hallway that is, again, stonework and bricks. Again, not particularly well made, but seems to be slightly more solid than the room that you were in. And it seems to continue slightly sloping upward.
Okay. Okay. Then let's see. And I can't see anything besides the sky from that hole.
Yeah, it's blue sky. You notice that the hole itself, the sky is probably about another 30 feet above it, there's a hole that goes down. It looks almost like ventilation, but very, very poorly done ventilation.
Okay. Wow, this guy's only 30 feet away from the hole. Impressive.
I mean, the hole goes 30 feet and then... Sure, antagonize the DM. It's a brilliant idea when you're alone.
Hey, I mean, you know. All right, I'm going to light up a fire stick.
Okay.
And
I believe as an Eladrin, you have dark vision as well, so...
I do have dark vision, but I figured that it was like too
Your
too
dark
much
vision
for me to
has
see
a
if I couldn't
limit.
see.
Yeah, you only have it 60 feet, so...
Right.
And technically, if you are in light and then there's areas of darkness, I kind of rule the same way that if you look into a dark room, you can't really see anything in it because your eyes aren't adjusted to it. So that's why you can't see much further than 30 feet.
Gotcha.
If there was no light, you'd be able to see 60 feet.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I forgot I had dark vision, as would I. All right, lovely. So then I am going to very carefully start walking down the hallway.
Okay. The hallway, again, kind of twists and turns and goes up, and you start feeling yourself getting some pretty significant distance upwards eventually, to the point where you start feeling that feeling that your ears need to pop. After about 150, 200 feet, you eventually do come to a door, and this door is very well made. It completely seals the opening that it covers, and it seems airtight as far as you can tell. You also notice that the hallway around you at this point is significantly better made as well. This looks like it was made by someone that actually knew what they were doing. And there are no leaks, there's no nothing. It's a very nice hallway now.
Dang, no hole in the door that I could peek through. No rusting off lock. Man, you're making this difficult.
You would notice this particular door is not like doesn't have a doorknob or anything. There's a counterweight in here that will, you assume, will have the door effectively kind of sink into the ground to open. So, yeah, the reason there's no keyhole or anything to look through is this isn't a normal door. This is much closer to like a hidden wall kind of door.
Gotcha. Okay. Can I look around to see if I can find the mechanism that will...
Oh, yeah. Blatantly obvious about how to... There's a lever.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Put the candle back.
Don't pull it.
This is right. He touched the thing he knew he wasn't supposed to touch. So, for adventure's purposes.
Adventure!
Okay. Adventure. So, just like falling off the cliff that one time.
We have to get you a sailcloth, apparently.
Probably. That'll probably be a good option. Or at least something that can fly after me and pick me back up. Alright,
You can ask Thomas how much fun it is to go into the Vale.
yeah, I could. Alright, I am going to
He was so traumatized he told us his name was Frederick.
Oh. Wait, is that your pet?
Yes.
I actually had went back to that episode. I was like, oh god, his first name was like originally it was Frederick.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, he was traumatized as hell. He probably just said a word.
Yep. It sounds like a good name. I wouldn't mind being. That's funny.
He's just like, these people drop me in the Vale. Whatever they call me, I'm good with. So anyway, do you want to open the door?
I do want to open the door.
So as you open it, the door slowly lowers. you're again kind of hit in the face with some light, and as you look out, you see kind of a beach kind of thing, and the veil.
What?
You know, it was time for a vacation.
While that's going on, Imp, Crexney, Owie, I think all three of you were there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a smell of ozone in the air.
Well, I don't know if we will, because originally we said Crexty was
Crixney was in her with her lawn chair.
redecorating. Was
Oh yeah,
redecorating.
she was dealing with her new furniture.
Just a lot of sounds coming from her. There were 5 minutes later.
No, Ogon, over there. You know, Ogon, I think you were right before. Maybe it was better there.
I can buff this out later after I pick it out.
So, Owie and Imp, you guys are again. There's a strong smell of ozone in the air. You guys actually watched as she reached in. There was kind of this like static charge almost, and then this loud popping sound, like a balloon just burst.
Yeah, so I was gonna watch her. Like, did we watch her get spaghettified, or did she just like?
You basically, as she grabbed onto this thing, you saw like electricity kind of go around her body, very, very much looking like a static charge, and then this very loud popping sound, almost identical to a balloon bursting.
Yeah, so almost identical to Owie's version of the Misty Step.
Kind of. Yours is more lightning and thunder sounding because it's a lightning bolt. This just pop. It seems weird, especially again, Owie, with you being familiar with teleportation in general and familiar enough that you've made your own version of it. This your first thought is, oh, somebody did the spell wrong, because having grown up in an academic setting of magic, you had seen people screw up teleportation spells and things like that. And so, yes, you hadn't quite seen this result of failure, but it's obvious like somebody didn't know what they were doing when they cast that spell, and something went wrong.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason. Whoops, she shouldn't have touched that. Seeing this was a failed product.
So we think she's still alive, or
Do we
here?
their eyes?
Good point. Good point.
We don't know you.
Good point. I was kind of concerned about that. Okay, they popped.
I'm looking around. I don't see a chess game. I don't see any kind of a game that says Jumanji on it. I don't know what happened to you.
You just saw static and then a popping sound.
As you guys are sitting there, Imp, you would probably be the first one to notice. You hear a sound from the main area of this shop, as it sounds like someone has walked into the shop and is starting to kind of move stuff around. And despite the fact the shop being almost completely bare, there's still a few things in there, and it sounds like someone's ruffling through stuff in the shop outside.
Now, I remember saying we locked the door.
Yes, you did. And yet someone's there.
I'm looking very bug-eyed at Allie right now.
I unlocked the door and not gonna. Excuse me.
Well, you guys are currently in the back room, effectively.
Yeah, we're in the back room.
Oh.
So the people are in the front room, where you guys are.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, where the
So what do you guys
bookcase
wanna
was
do?
that we moved and saw the blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
This isn't gonna go well, is it?
I'm gonna like. Just like, with Spitwit, just like.
Oh my god, you're so cute.
And Spitwit will like go to the ground and then like scurry and see if he can like on the sneak see if he can peek a look.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a stealth check from Mrs. Spitwick.
Oh my god, that
Yeah,
figurine is
it's-
so cute.
It's a silver dragon. I got.
Ah.
I'm sorry, what am I rolling?
Stealth.
Stealth? Okay, that's +4. Okay.
I'll give him advantage because the person in there has no idea there's anyone else in here.
Okay.
For some bizarre reason, when they went into a locked building that looks deserted, they're not expecting anyone.
Oh,
What do you got?
Nat 20.
Nat 20. Oh, cool.
Hey.
Spitwick. Spitwick disappears from your view and starts scuttling around. Are you going to see through his eyes or just wait for
Yeah,
him to?
I'm hugging the wall and I'm like
Okay.
doing a.
So as
I'm
he kind
warning.
of goes through, you kind of see this like first person kind of going through, crawling on the ground kind of thing, and he gets underneath the counter and looks out, and you can see a pair of gentlemen just kind of walking around, very kind of nonchalantly, picking things off of shelves and throwing them off and kind of moving things around. They're speaking to each other, but despite Spitwick having really good hearing, Spitwick can't understand what they're saying. They sound almost like they're underwater or something. Everything comes off as muffled and hard to hear. And they just seem to be walking around having kind of polite conversation. They're completely unaware of Spitwick. One of them starts walking towards the back after about a minute of Spitwick observing.
I think he'll stick to the shadows, but he'll definitely be like looking out. Are they coming up to us?
One of them is moving towards the back where you guys currently are. And again, he's not like going fast or anything. He's just kind of nonchalantly walking towards the back.
Sorry, no, I may have missed because when I was doing my chicanery,
Mhm.
when they were, are they dressed the same or are they?
Oh, physically, they are wearing, for lack of a better term, they're wearing inconspicuous clothing. If you were to tell someone, hey, dress inconspicuously, this would be how they would dress. They're wearing kind of nondescript clothing. Both of them have cloaks with hoods, though the hoods are down, currently right down. You can see one of them actually has kind of like a neck gaiter mask style thing that has been pulled down as well. And again, like they have kind of brownish tunics and brown pants and leather shoes. Like they would be hard to pick out of a crowd.
If they're coming back to our room
Mm-hmm.
that we're in, I would just like motion Owie to stand back and stay out of the way. And if it's, I'm going to wait to see if they actually come into the room.
Did you lock the door to the room that you guys are currently in? Because that
I don't recall us ever saying that, so I'll be
Okay.
honest and say no, because I was counting on the front door being locked.
So as they get there, you hear this, and at first you think it's kind of weird that they didn't just open the door. And you realize whatever caused the pop caused the door to just slightly shift in its frame and slightly warp, and so now the door is just barely jammed. So you get the feeling that just a strong tug is going to open it, but for right now, you guys just heard the door knock, and the door go. Anything you want to do? You have like a second before the door is going to be opened.
If I get up really close, I'm gonna stage whip her. If they open up, just follow my lead.
And as soon as you say that, and you see this guy come in and goes,
I do change my clothes.
okay. as he comes in. As the door opens, there's kind of like a shower of dust because again, it was now jammed in the doorway. He comes. He's like, "Hello, hello, hello. What do we have here?"
No, can't have it. Found it first. You know, go away. We found spot. Find keeper. You go. Leave. We found.
And you hear from behind him. You hear this. Oh, we've got company, mate.
No, we have company. Unwelcome guest. Go away. We didn't make tea.
Yeah.
And he's just looking at you strange. Another guy comes in, and something that you notice about them is they look eerily similar. Not so much like siblings, almost like somebody made a bad copy of a wanted poster similar.
Oh.
Who are you? You don't have RSVP. I know you couldn't have RSVP. We didn't write a letter yet.
Simon, who in the hell are these people? They don't look like the ones that were looking. Ugly is auto-modded? Really? Sorry, checks. Said the word ugly, and apparently auto-mod didn't like that.
It depends on the settings at the house.
So this other guy comes in, and again, they look eerily similar. Identical height, identical weight, almost identical clothing. Their faces are just slightly different. So the other one's, I don't know exactly what's going on here. All right, who are you? And why is you here? You don't look like the owner.
How do you know we're not the owner? We find here first. That makes us owner.
Hey.
Oh, hey! We found first. We know you didn't find first because you're here second.
They're bloody squatters.
Not squatting to find first.
Listen, love. And the
I
other
love
gentleman
you.
turns
No,
towards
not my
Owie.
type.
Ew.
Turns towards Owie. I don't know who your friend here is. But you all have stumbled onto something that you shouldn't have. But I'm a nice gentleman. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you leave here with your lives. Does that sound good to you?
Towards Smegwick.
As you guys are
I
kind
think-
of speaking
think
with your eyes, the other one goes, check. Shut up, you muffin.
I think the 8 of us could take him.
Alright, listen what I'm going to say for you right now, okay? I know who owns this place. It's not you. So I think
do
you
you
need
know?
to leave. We're here to make a friend. You're not them. We're gonna mosey on out of here after we have a bit of a look around. But we know who lives here, and they're not gonna really like it at you doing stuff in their house. So I think you should just get out. We'll forget we ever saw you. We won't tell the owner that you was here, and then you won't tell the owner that we was here. Does that sound like a good? Does that sound like an accord to you?
I don't know. I planned on peeing in one of the corners to claim official.
Simon, let's just kill the blokes and get this over with. No, check. Shut up. Listen, you do what you want. It's a pigsty already. We'll deal with this later.
I haven't tidied up yet, judgmental. I insulted. You know what? Let's go.
And we're like, they're technically in the doorway, but they're not blocking it or anything. They just happen to be standing in between you and the way. So if you want to like push past them, you can.
My gosh.
What would you two like to do?
Smegwick's already acting like he's leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so
they both kind of
Dowie.
move out of the way, and you guys are able to leave without too much difficulty. While that's going on,
And well, I think just as soon as we get out, we're gonna like run across the street if that's an option, and like
sure. Do you guys have a specific place you want to go after you leave? Do you want to start heading back to the ship? Do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Keep an eye. I want to keep an eye on the place because in case we might have to. I don't know what happened to her eye, so.
Okay. So if you guys, there is kind of an impromptu kind of outdoor cafe. Basically, it's a food cart that also has chairs and tables that it sets up every day. So if you guys want to just get this particular cart sells steamed buns. So if you guys wanted to pick up some steamed buns, you could sit down and look totally normal sitting there.
If we can hide behind people, we'll absolutely do that. Just make it will then change his clothes when he's out as he's running across. And since Spitwit is still hiding because I didn't take him with me. He's still stealthing. I'm hoping we can get him to listen in on them while
Sure. Within that 20, he can hide as long as he wants.
Yep, I figured.
So while that's going on,
high and low or wherever.
Crexney, it is remarkable how difficult it is to find the right spot for it. Like every time you're like, oh, it'll fit perfectly here. You're like, no, because it clashes with this, or you know what? No, because I think that will look better here. And so for the better part of an hour now, you and Ogun have been just trying to get this to work in your room. And it's just like it's that tiny bit where it's like, you know what? This is almost perfect, but it's missing something.
More furniture.
Yeah, you think it's like maybe if I go to another penthouse apartment and grappling hook a few more, maybe grappling hook some throw pillows for it. Maybe that's what it's missing, or maybe a coffee table. You're not sure how well a coffee table would stand up to being grappled, but you're willing to try.
I'll figure it out. As
you say that, you hear the sound of kind of heavy, fast footfalls coming from the deck above, and you hear this like, and it goes over to the stairs. You hear it go, and as you look out your door, you watch as Reggie kind of very quickly runs down the stairs and continues going down to the cargo hold to where his own little place is. And he seems kind of oblivious to everybody else except whatever it is that he's doing. And he is very, very focused. He goes down.
Hey, where are you going? Hey! And I'm going to take Ogun and we're just going to follow right behind him.
Okay. Reggie, as you're going, you are in a bit of a haze from what you have just dealt with. And so you can hear kind of in the back of your head, kind of like someone calling to you from another room in the house. And for a while, you just kind of ignore it, and you get back to where your cot is in your own little kind of corner of the cargo hold. And you realize that Ogun and Crexney have effectively been following you down. They haven't gotten into the cargo hold proper yet, but it's a few seconds until they do. How do you want to deal with that?
Yeah, honestly, Reggie is not going to do much. He's just going to plant his ass like in his hammock that he just has strung up between like two large boxes just in that back corner of the cargo hold. And Crexney, when you finally arrive, you just see him just sitting there just like,
are you okay?
He doesn't respond.
Reggie?
He's like in one of those silent, still panic attacks, which is, for the record, Reggie never has panic attacks. He doesn't panic. This is a first.
Can I go over by him and kind of just like try to comfort him and see if he'll talk?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, going over there.
Yeah, wow, I'm sorry. That's your job to say. I'm sorry.
Going over there is...
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, I mean, player agency. If you don't want to be touched, you don't get touched. So as you go over there, the first thing that you notice, if you've ever been around someone that is going through a panic attack, an actual like full-blown panic attack, the air around them feels charged. Like it feels very, very awkward to be around someone that's doing that. And so as you get closer, you can tell that there's something obviously very, very wrong. If you'd like to kind of reach out and interact with him, you can. However, Reggie will have just as many options to deal with that as well.
I already have something in mind.
So
Yeah,
what would you like to do?
Me?
I'm going to start with Crexy and then we'll go back to Reggie since
Perfect.
Reggie is.
I'm gonna just go over by him and say, "Hey, it's okay. Deep breaths. Look at me. What's happening? What's going on?"
Okay, Reggie, again, you can tell that she's there. You can see her in your peripheral vision, but you are so kind of overcome with this feeling that, again, it feels like someone is talking to you from another room.
Oh yeah.
So, what would you like
I
to
have
do
no
now
idea
that
what
she
happened,
is
so-
there and she's trying to speak to you?
Is she Cruxney, are you only speaking to Reggie, or are you about to
Yeah.
like put a hand on his shoulder or
No,
something?
just speaking to you, not touching you.
Okay, like where exactly are you standing? Like to his
In front of
side
you.
or like
In
directly in front?
Mhm.
Okay. After a couple coaxings and words of emotional mental health support from Cruxney, Reggie just kind of slowly looks up for a moment. And he just kind of like looks around. And he just kind of leans into Cruxney for a moment. What more do we have to do in this city? Okay? Look, what more do we have to do? Let's just get it done, and then we need to get out of here.
Okay, I'm here. Let's go. You stay here. Do you know where everybody else is at? Do you want me to go try to round them up?
What's going on? How long has it been since I left the boat?
Better part, Crexy, better part of like 4-ish hours.
About 4-ish hours.
Okay. Look,
How about I
look,
get you water, and then
Okay.
I'll go look for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
She goes.
Yeah,
up.
he does not move. He is still sitting in his hammock.
Yeah. The water stores for the ship are in the kitchen, which is on the other side of the cargo deck. So you can go over there, you get
Yeah,
some
I'm gonna
water.
have Ogon stay, and I'm gonna run up, grab water really quick, and then come back down.
Yeah. She gives you the water. Again, kind of coming down from a panic attack as the water kind of hits your lips and you start drinking it. Your whole body reacts to the water. Like you feel this kind of wave of coolness just kind of wash over you as you drink the water. And it's another thing that can kind of attach you back to reality and kind of get you out of your own brain. So the water
Yeah,
does
it helps
help.
ground him.
Reggie, I just need to know what direction they're in, and I'll go get everybody.
Look, that's not important right now. There's someone here in this city who is very, very dangerous. Look, all I can say right now is let's get our business done here. As soon as we can, we pack up and we leave.
Okay, we're gonna.
Does
leave.
not matter where we go. We could go north, south, east, west. Does not matter. We pack up, get our shit done, and we get the fuck off of this island.
Okay. Let's go get our friends. I'll go get them.
You
go.
go get. I'm gonna.
Okay, yeah, I'll go get them. Me and Ogon will go get them.
Yeah, he keeps drinking, and his hand is like still kind of shaking, but at least he's responsive now.
Okay, so do I have an idea about where they're at? Did they say it before when I was?
Smegwick probably would have mentioned that he was going
Okay.
to go pick up some more supplies, and you guys would be aware that he found that kind of magic shop. So it'll take you a little bit more time than would normally take because you're kind of going off of inference and everything like that.
I just put it in chat, but yeah, I mean, I yelled out, and Thomas would have also because I did yell out.
So
Okay.
you personally have never been to this shop, so it takes you an extra 15 minutes to find it. But
Sure.
you do eventually. After about an hour, you're able to get there. Smegwick and Owie, you guys, since you've been watching the shop, nothing has happened for the past hour. Like the people have not come out, but you do very quickly notice the large robotic saber-toothed tiger-like thing, and the bunny woman walking, making a beeline for the shop itself.
Well,
Oh.
that's going to be Owie because Smegwick's doing the whole.
So
Okay, guys.
you see Owie kind of waving you over, and you can see Smegwick in his, because you've seen him in this state before, in his kind of, I'm
Yep.
seeing through.
He's trying to pretend. He probably has like his journal out. He's pretending to write in it. But he's like,
Yeah, all you see is weird scribbles and circles and stuff like that, because he can't actually see what he's writing.
he's pretending. He just like flips a page every so often.
So yeah,
Where's
still on his pen.
Where's the ride, guys?
Something very awkward just happened over there.
You lost her? Him? Sorry. You lost him?
Yeah, I kind of lost
What?
her eye.
while this is going on, Arai, you as you come out to this kind of beach on the Vale, as you look over at the place you just came out of, the hidden door is effectively a rock that shortly after you come out, you watch it close, and had you not known that it was there, you would not be able to tell that it's there.
Ooh.
Looking around, there's really not much here. You do notice some interesting things, like the place that you're in is kind of a natural harbor where the edge of the beach, where it starts to go into the Vale, there is a sheer drop there, which isn't super typical of a lot of these islands. They tend to taper off a little bit more before they drop off. So this would be a very easy place for a ship to get very, very close to the shore. But beyond that, you can't really see anything. The wall behind you that the door is hidden in goes up really, really high, and you can see the city of Ebia is above you, and you are pretty low. Like, you're even lower than you would kind of expect, because in Ebia itself, they actually have kind of an artificially high veil level, so that they can effectively for dry docks and things like that, so they can raise and lower the veil using sluice gates and things like that. So you're as low as you can, and you can see the city is probably about 100 feet above you at this particular point.
Okay.
So it seems that you're still on Ebia, you're just outside of it right now.
Okay, perfect. I'm kind of sad you described it, because I wanted to make a beach
Sorry.
comment. Seeing the door close. But why is the rum gone? Does it look like there is a path that I can get up to that area, or would I need to climb a little bit? Are there stairs?
As far as you can see from here, there is no way into the city of Ebia, but the beach itself extends and kind of curves around the edge of the island. So it's possible, if you follow the beach, you may eventually get to a place where you could get into Ebia. But as of right now, this place, if you were sailing past Ebia, you would never have looked here. It is so inconspicuous and out of the way that you would have been completely unaware that this beach even existed, just due to how the Vale kind of flows in this area. You wouldn't be able to see this beach at all until you were on top of it.
Okay. Alright, I just kind of look around at the beach, going in both directions, and just sort of sigh, because he knows there's a lot of walking ahead.
Okay.
And start walking.
So over the next hour, you kind of walk around, and you eventually find your way to a dry dock that you haven't personally been in, because the dock that you guys went to when you arrived here was a private dock for anonymity. But you recognize it. You recognize a dry dock, and as you're kind of wandering around, you see some Kenku kind of wandering around, and they notice you and go, "Stranger! What are you doing here?"
Adventure.
Yeah.
And then one of the other one goes, adventure!
Adventure. And is it an area where I can thus or then get up at that point?
Yeah, effectively, where you are
Okay.
right now is like at the bottom of the dry dock. So there are ladders and there's some badly made stairs that you can kind of climb up to get into Ebia proper.
Okay, perfect.
But the Kenku seem to be going.
Don't mind me and don't ask. And I'm gonna have him put, because he's been carrying the pike on his back, and just start heading up the stairs.
And as you kind of go past, you hear one of the Kenku go, "Don't ask," and just nod his head. Krexney, Aoi has kind of waved you over, and Smegwick is obviously at this point trying to learn information. Smegwick, over the past hour, you have again realized that you, for some reason that you can't explain, Spitwick can't understand what they're saying. And you remember when they first started talking to you.
Speaking in Cockney?
Yes, they're using Cockney rhyming slang. And it just doesn't make sense. No, you remember when they first started speaking, the second voice kind of had this, Charlie Brown adult kind of thing to it. And then when he came in, he started speaking normally. So whatever they are using is obviously intentionally done so that people can't understand them, but you are not aware of something that allows... Like, they're not speaking a different language that you don't understand.
That was going to be my question. Like, are they speaking another language? Or
No,
are they...
there's no phonics to it. There's no phonetics to it in any way, shape, or form. It is weird sounds. Again, it sounds muffled and...
They're speaking in Sims!
Yes, you keep hearing Dabaduchia over and over again. I had a friend in college who's really into The Sims, and every so often, if something surprising happens, she'd just go, Daba freaking Duchia!
That is a good one.
I became fluent in Simish in college during choir retreats, which that was its own thing. I had a choir director who was a nonsense, crazy person. And in order to belong to the choir that I was in, you had to go on a weekend retreat every year. And if you did not go on this retreat during school, like, you would have to give up your weekend in like the end of September to go camping effectively with the choir, where you would learn all of the music for that semester. It was nonsense. And if you didn't show up, you could get kicked out of the choir. For a non-audition choir in college. Anyway, so yeah, whatever is doing it, again, with your familiarity with magic, you would assume this has to be some sort of magic spell, but this is not a spell you have ever heard of.
Next question, are like their activities, since Spitwit rolled so great on the stealth, are they just doing a looky-loo, like doing the picking through, the leaving someplace?
They seem to be really, really preoccupied with the space in the wall that you guys found. And they write some notes, and again, with a nat 20, Spitwick is able to look at the notes. The notes are nonsense. There's squiggles and lines every so often.
The ones we already saw.
Picture.
The ones we already... Because we took everything else but the gem.
No, the people in there are writing notes.
Oh.
And again, the notes themselves are nonsense. The conversations they're having are nonsense. Though, with your kind of understanding of body language and stuff like that, you can infer a little bit like, oh, he was surprised about that. Oh, he's angry about that. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, they're joking. But beyond that very basic body language reading, you have no idea what they are. But they spend the better part of half an hour going over every square inch of this little hole in the wall that you guys found.
Do either of them try to do the same oopsie or I did? Do they try to grab that ruby?
There's no ruby left. The ruby disappeared with.
Oh, I thought just the
a
person.
rock.
I didn't. Oh, okay. So the ruby did disappear too. Okay.
Yep. After, like I said, after a good half hour of them examining this thing, they go back to kind of looking around the rest of it. You do notice the one with the kind of more gravelly voice. You see him randomly going to spots on the wall, and he's got a dagger with a jewel in the pommel that, even without doing something like detect magic or anything, is blatantly obvious to you that it is magical in some way. And he'll sit there and he'll kind of jam it into the wall at certain points and kind of carve some sort of mark. And again, you're familiar with magic, you instantly try to identify the mark. And again, the mark is nonsense. It isn't a magic rune that you've ever seen. It doesn't follow any magic script. It's not elvish. It's not draconic. It's not primordial. It's not celestial, abyssal.
But it could be a mark that just signifies something to them that wouldn't mean anything to anyone else.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, it is not in any language that you know, and it doesn't follow the rules of magic runes in any way that you are familiar with.
It's twin speak.
When he does, is it magically carving in, or is it just gouging into the wood? Is there like a glowy?
It seems to have some sort of magical effect, because shortly after he carves it and walks away, you can't notice it anymore unless you force Spitwick to look at it very, very closely. You notice that every time you kind of tell Spitwick to move or to look at it, Spitwick very naturally looks to the side of it, or looks above it or below. He has an extremely hard time actually focusing on it as well, which makes it very difficult for you to see it.
Over, enhance, enhance.
So again, there's obviously something magic about it, but every rule of magic you understand, this breaks. It shouldn't work, but it does.
Okay. So while this is all going on, do they eventually leave, or do they, after they do the
for
carving
the hour
thing? Or...
that you are there, when Crexney shows up, they are still kind of looking around. But the first dude, the one that doesn't have the gravelly voice, has gotten a little bit more passe. Like he started leaning against the wall. The second dude is the one that keeps going around to seemingly random places and kind of stabbing them and carving with his dagger, and then he'll spend an awkward amount of time in that particular location just staring at the mark that he made. So as of the point that Crexney shows up, no one has left. And you would be completely unaware that Crexney is there, because I don't believe you can see or hear.
Nope, can't see or hear a thing.
But Audi, you would be aware that if you need to get his attention, he can still feel things.
Yep.
So if you kind of tap him or something, he'll know.
Yep. Tap, tap.
So you
Okay,
feel.
I like this.
He'll
Don't think he's doing anything. All right. And like he snaps his fingers, and he'll instead of like risking being found, he'll actually just have Spitwit disparate, and then he'll resummon Spitwit next to him.
Okay.
Instead of risking a sneak out.
So as you do that, you kind of bring your book down, and you see a large robotic cat face looking at you, awkwardly close to you.
All right, so we oh gee.
Misses you.
Give me a water bottle. God.
do we have any water bottles?
They would serve refreshments at the places you're at. So.
Go away. I do have prestidigitation. Just like
Just
No.
no.
Watch out if it tries to climb up on your lap.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll probably do that. It's a cat.
I have Hellish Rebuke locked and loaded at all times.
Biscuit making shreds your skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, Crixney, Owie, have you kind of filled in Crixney what's going on?
Yeah,
or?
I have.
And I will. I
You
will.
guys lost Arai. He's missing.
We didn't lose anyone. Arai touched a nope,
And
Arai went bye-bye.
nope. And you don't know where he is?
No, just like surrounded by like, so I like look around like no, surrounded by electricity and went.
You popped him?
I did, and
He
no,
did not.
he popped himself. Probably not the first time.
Take inspiration for that, mostly because of Jax's response. That look on your face, Arai, was beautiful.
It's not a burn if it's true.
Yep.
So, as you guys are saying this, Arai, you, once you're back in the city itself, it doesn't take you too long to figure out where you need to go. And you're able to kind of catch up to them within about 10 to 15 minutes. You realize that the place that you were brought to was not particularly far away, like the dry dock you went to. It's not particularly far away from the shop. And so you kind of wander upon them as Smedwick is trying to defend himself to Crexney. And
Watching the water.
yeah. They haven't quite noticed you yet because there's enough people and they're focused on themselves that they haven't noticed you.
Okay. I'm gonna have Arai just walk up to Crexney and kind of see if he can sneak up behind her and just sort of rest his head on her hat and be like, "That was fun. You should try it."
And I'm gonna jump on him and says, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were popped."
I should pop more often.
Why do you give a crap about what happened? Okay, fine. You know what? Fine.
So, what happened? Where did you go?
Not too far, but quite far. It was a long walk. But I found this secret place where we can hide some rum.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so apparently you didn't notice a damn thing, and there are two weirdos in there who are checking the place over.
And Reggie said, "We gotta go. Like, right now. We gotta go." He was not in his right mind, and he was like, "No, get everybody and let's go right this second, like right now." So I'm getting you. We're leaving.
I'm guessing Reggie didn't notice the three Kenkus doing work all over the damn ship.
Probably not.
According to their estimate, I think you guys still have about 3 days before you can leave.
Oh.
I think it was originally it was 2 days, but then it got bumped to 4 days.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys
Go
at this
faster?
point it'd be about 3.5 days because they've had a half day of work roughly.
Yeah.
So
Upgrade.
Do you know why he's freaking out?
upgrade.
I'll do it.
1,000 gold.
He
I
was
can
supposed
upgrade.
he was supposed to go to that the bauble place, the Bell and the Bauble. He was supposed to go there, and he was supposed to like scout the place out. Next thing I know, he comes in. Hey, yeah, that's great, and just scurries down
He
to
said
his
there's a
spot.
really bad person here, a really bad person, and we have to go.
Yeah, no shit, it's a Bia.
Okay, but not normal. Be a bad person. He was like pale, freaking out, hyperventilating. We gotta go. Okay.
Well,
I'm with
one.
you.
All right.
I'm just saying what I was told to say.
Okay, one. But just in case anyone does, there's some real weird stuff going on in there. Whoever that person was, clearly we don't know him. Look, we did due diligence. I looked at Owie. Like, we did due diligence. Whatever she's mixed up in, we don't know, and we barely avoided 2 guys who do the worst job at looking nondescript.
Okay.
But they are
Yeah.
carving the crap out of that place with magical that you're
Yeah.
with runes that you cannot spot unless you really concentrate really friggin' hard.
And
So-
you want to wait for them?
No, I was waiting to see what they were doing.
Okay.
So I'm like eyeing every place. If have they left yet?
No, they're still in there.
Okay, forget what. Let's go before they do. That way, there's less likely to see us. Grab some grab some more steam buns. And take them back to the ship.
Oh, steam buns.
By the way, the cost of your stakeout is a gold piece.
All right, fine.
For the amount of steam buns and refreshments that you guys got over the hour. So, as you guys return to the hidden dock, you can see the Kenku are heavy at work, doing repairs that don't make a ton of sense to you specifically right now, but they seem like they know what they're doing. You guys have probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours before you're supposed to be at the Bell and the Bauble for your dinner meeting. By the time you get back, Reggie, it takes them again. You've been down here. It took Crixie an hour to get there, and it took her another roughly like 45 minutes to get back once they had their conversation and everything. So you've had the better part of 2 hours. Have you done anything in those 2 hours, or have you just kind of been sitting there dealing with yourself? You are muted.
Yeah, I just now noticed. Okay, so yeah, Reggie by this time has calmed down enough to leave the cargo hold. He stole an apple out of it, and he's just kind of now he's back on the deck of the ship. And he's not really doing all that much. He still kind of has a little bit of a nervous twitch about him, but he's a bit more mobile. He's not quite so shut in at this time. Now he's just sitting on the railing of the ship itself, and he's just watching the Kenku work. Okay. And he's kind of got this face of like, when did these guys get here?
As you're sitting there, you do notice the rest of the party kind of coming back. You can see Arai is a little bit more frazzled than he was the last time you saw him. But the rest of them look fairly normal. And as all of you guys get on the deck of the ship, you see Reggie there, which corrects to you kind of make a mental note that Reggie looks a lot better than the last time you saw him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Reggie, by this time, has completely finished this apple. He throws it over to the side into the veil. Like, wonderful, you're here. All right. I think repairs are good enough for now to us to get moving. Let's untie, undock, and let's get out of here. Come on.
Okay.
Told
Yeah,
ya.
yeah, you know that's not happening, right?
Why is that?
Because we paid for upgrades and... Have you not noticed the friggin' Kenku's all over the friggin' ship?
Only 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, they're actually the same 3 ones. They're just popping all over the damn place. But they're doing upgrades to the ship. The place is here. We got roughly...
Upgrades? What upgrades do we possibly need?
Going faster, for one.
They need to go fast.
And he's actually kind of mulling that over like, fast. Fast is actually good. And how long is it? And how long is it going to take for them to set this up?
By this count, and the work they're doing, which is actually pretty quick, I gotta say, we got like 3.5 more days.
And he's like now panicking, looking between Smegwick and the city, Smegwick and the city, Smegwick and the city. Like,
Okay, time out. We've had multiple shenanigans happen way too many at once in a row. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna sum this up real quick for us, and I'll go into the story later. Went back to the shop. We were gonna get shopping. There was a place. There was some next level someone pulled a bug out. We thought someone was in trouble. We tried to do the right thing. One of these days I'm going to learn. A ride touched a note, disappeared. 2 guys came in, looked at the place, and they're carving all kinds of magical what's over there. We got out. We got out unscathed, so much as I understand it. You, Reggie, we're supposed to investigate the Bell and the Bauble because we have a meeting there later.
Oh,
You
yes,
said-
it's a very, very nice place. I'm sure you'll love having a meeting there.
And from everything I was told, and I'm seeing right now, you're flipping out. Did you compromise us?
No, you'll be happy to know I did no such thing. The moment I saw what the deal was, I got out of there. I did not say anything. I did not do anything. I just left.
Why are you worried? What's the problem?
Horrible criminal, ties to the underworld, someone who wants my head.
Oh.
We're in a beer.
It is a very nice head, though.
Ties in the entire empire, not just a beer.
Is he looking for you actively?
No, luckily, I think he may not remember what I look like, or something like that. Look, all I know is that if he's here, he's not here without a reason. Look, okay. And he kind of gestures for everyone to get like a little bit closer. Okay.
We're on our friggin' ship.
I don't trust those birds.
Upgrade.
Quiet.
You already got half the money.
Trust the birds.
All right.
You hear from another one of them. Trust the birds.
And for a
Trust the
moment,
birds.
Reggie,
Trust the birds. Trust the birds. Trust the birds.
And for a
They seem to really enjoy that phrase.
You just helped them out with so many future business opportunities.
it's one of those things that, even if Kenku are pretty regular, it's still one of those things that still catch you by surprise, not just to hear that perfectly mimicked, but just in that voice as well. Like, okay, listen. There's a man currently here with ties to not just the underworld of this place, but the underworld of the entire empire. He's someone who, unfortunately, I've been at odds with back before I met up with all of you. Listen.
Okay.
His name is Moore. And he's a Wadaganasi. I don't know why he's here. And quite frankly, I don't want to know why he's here. He is a very dangerous man. And the instant he realizes that I am who I am, it's been a few years. Maybe he forgot my face or something. But the moment he realizes that I am here, it's not only going to put a target on my back, it's actually going to put a target on all of your backs as well, because you're with me. Now,
we already have a target on our backs because of the Tempest Sovereignty. I appreciate the concern you have. 3.5 days. Misdirection. Is you changing how you look at all an option?
Unfortunately, all my clothes are rather...
We still got time.
I don't... And he kind of looks at his clothes for a moment, and you just see that one little instant of I don't want to dress lower than my class for a moment. And he you actually see him quickly push that thought aside, and he's like, I can quickly whip up something. Maybe he won't even recognize me. Look, just what level was the Bell and the Bauble on?
3.
Yeah.
Level 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
New hairstyle.
Bell and the Bauble was level 4.
Sorry, 4.
Oh, even higher. Okay, look. I will do what I can to try to minimize any risks for myself and all of you. But when that meeting comes, I'm not gonna be there. Okay? For all I know, that Moore guy is still gonna be there. Look, just be on the lookout for a very high high-class water ganassi. All right? And it's most likely going to be him. Whatever you do not believe anything he says. Any kind of words he says out of his mouth, do not trust.
We were going into the headquarters of what possibly is the Thieves Guild in Abia.
Thieves Guild of Abia is here. Imperial Underground is here. I would sooner rather than DD. I would deal with these guys, but this is too much of a risk.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying I wasn't going in there thinking we were gonna like go into a nunnery. Also, the whole reason we were having the meeting, if things go south, where are you gonna be?
On another boat out of here.
I will point out, just for logistical reasons, Misdirection and Anonymity are sovereignty-wide organizations. Yeah. They're just located in Ebia.
Oh, I actually did not know that. I thought it was just Ebia.
They control Ebia, like Ebia is their town. So, but they, Anonymity, if you need someone killed, and you want to make sure it's done right, Anonymity is the Assassin's Guild of...
Visit at any of our satellite locations across the Tempest Sovereign.
However, Abia is the only place where they effectively have exclusive rights to what they do. Everywhere else of the sovereignty, other criminal organizations can exist. In Abia, as you guys have already found out, if you do things without their permission, they cause problems for you. So this is the only place where they effectively own it, but they exist all throughout the sovereignty.
Okay, that actually clears up quite a lot.
Okay. So, yes, with your previous experience, you probably never dealt with either, without going too much in your backstory, you've probably never dealt with either Anonymity or Misdirection, just because that wasn't your particular field of expertise.
Correct.
But you would have been aware of them. Everyone in the sovereignty is aware of them.
I knew of their existence, but in my personal backstory, I was never personally involved with those organizations.
You were neither
by
an
any
assassin
extent.
nor a
thief.
Pickpocket, effectively. They're the thievery that they do is kind of a very specific flavor of thievery, and that wasn't your flavor.
Gotcha.
But I'm just going to throw this out here to you. We did something highly questionable, and we're trying to stay on everyone's good side as best we can.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah.
The freaking job with Anonymity.
Okay. I thought something new happened since I got here. Okay.
And that's the whole point of the meeting. So, hopefully, there's best case scenario, they're going to see what we did, because they seem to know what we friggin' did. Although we're going to friggin' deny it. But best case scenario, they're going to offer us a job, or it's a shakedown job, or something like that, to say, you want to stay on our good side, you're going to do this for us. Or maybe it's going to be something else. Or maybe they're going to give us our walking papers and they'll tell us to get out. Worst case scenario, they're going to kill us. Hopefully not kill us, seeing as how they invited us, because I see if they wanted to kill us, they could have just done it outright instead of having us walk in. That's why I'm operating on the best case scenario here, hopefully. So, you may have to do a really good job on however you need to look and be in attendance there, depending on how the situation goes.
Fine. Okay. All right. Well.
And maybe interact as best you can, only when you feel you have to, or step in. Work while you were waiting. Work on a different voice. I don't know.
Yeah, working on the voice. That's actually something I can do rather well. I just need to figure out some. Look, I'll figure out something. Okay.
Work on your motivation, whatever it is you performers do.
You see a Kenku kind of walking up the gangplank, going, "Trust the birds. Trust the birds. Trust the birds."
Oh, will you stop it?
No.
Fuck off! Trust the birds. He goes below deck to do some work.
Hey, careful down there. I got my stuff down there.
Fuck off!
You fuck off.
Oh, Lord.
You fuck
How
off.
are you?
You fuck off. Fuck off. You fuck off.
And it's just all the southern accents just mirroring each other.
This is just again, it's just Vox Machina where they're just like,
So, at this point, you guys have about an hour-ish left before you're supposed to be at this place. And Reggie, you would have realized that this particular dining establishment, coat and tie, is required. So, coming in kind of your adventuring clothes, you will be turned away at the door.
Okay, so yeah, I will definitely. I'll go through my stuff, and I'm going to pick out just the highest class clothing that I have.
I would assume Reggie has quite a few options to choose from in this particular category.
I emptied out some of the tall boxes and I turned them into my personal closets.
Okay.
Now that being said, though, I'm not sure if I have anything that is anyone else's size, because I'm not sure if anyone else has like super high class clothing like I do.
Does Allie have like some sort of formal dress?
You would have again your kind of upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
It is second nature to you to always have a set of formal wear available at any time, because growing up in the kind of the aristocracy, you were expected that anytime a party was announced that you would be required to show up. So yes, you would have at least one or two bits of formal wear, and one of those being the school. The school has a dress uniform that students were expected to wear, and so you would still have your dress uniform despite no longer being enrolled.
She's so tiny.
And you would also probably have a gown of some sort.
Yeah. I'll pet the gown.
Okay.
Smegwood goes like, I just put that in chat. He goes through her settings and he goes like, no, maybe this other one. And just like,
and then for
Rai brushes back his hair because he always looks fabulous.
yeah, I was about to say, Eladrin, you guys just kind of your natural, like your casual dress tends to be kind of classy.
himbo setting number 2.
Crexney, due to you having been, working in a shipyard for a while, and that
I think everything I have is dirty.
yeah, so you do not actively have formal wear with you, but you have an hour if you want to try and find some formal wear, or being the artificer that you are, you can try to make some formal wear.
Oh, hey, magic. I'll make it.
Okay, go ahead and make me a tinkering tools check, which is intelligence plus proficiency bonus.
I think that saw that one as a flat metal necktie.
Oh, I love those.
Intelligence came out to 24. And what was the other one?
Plus your proficiency.
You just add your proficiency bonus to the intelligence check. So
that's the +6, right? So 24.
Yeah, so that works fine. So your expertise is not in creating clothes. Your expertise is in creating, metalworking and things like that. So you effectively make yourself dress armor.
Watch out now.
So as you guys are all coming out, Reggie is dressed to the nines, and Aoi is in this really gorgeous, little ball gown, and Arai is Arai, and Smegwit comes out in his kind of very dolled up look. You guys hear this kind of clinking sound, and you watch as Crexney comes out in effectively a metal. Well, I'll let you describe it. It is made of metal, but what do you envision you coming out
I
as?
envision like a tight around the, not super tight, but like fitting around the chest, like lower half area, and I want it to kind of hang down like like the the samurai type.
Sure.
Yep, like that, but kind of more form fitting, just a little bit. Cause I'm a rabbit and I'm cute. I gotta move.
So there's I can't think of the word for what those are, but I know exactly what they are. So she comes out and she looks like, now this does not actually function as like plate mail or anything like that, because again it's kind of hobbled together. It's meant to look appealing, but Crexie comes out in this very kind of flattering, form-fitting, kind of plate-ish male thing, and she's got, you know, various, like, almost like a half skirt hanging off of it, and like she looks great, but she looks like she's about to
Go to
like
battle.
go into battle, going to a dance battle or something. Like, you're not 100% certain. You start waiting to hear the gum 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 gum.
Start swaying to side. Clink, clink, clink.
Been working so hard. Sorry. So yeah, you guys are dressed and ready. I just realized we're still in the dungeon. So let's change this to.
I was gonna ask, what does Reggie look like?
Yeah, Reggie, go ahead and describe yourself.
Okay, so Reggie comes out, and honestly, I think the best way to describe his outfit is that it is very much like it is very Percy DeRollo from Vox Machina. Just long coat. He's got the little frills coming out. He's got white satin gloves. He's got the high, like, black boots. Like, he's got no mustache.
Does he have the anime glasses that go white in just the right angle?
Ding.
Oh God, I wish, but unfortunately, no. No, he
No, it's the ones with the swirls.
Melvin from Sailor Moon. No, he doesn't have any eyewear and he doesn't have any facial hair, but he does have, like, his brown hair is just all completely slicked back. He's found some way to gel it somehow. He also has a cane with him this time that he also has stored in, like, his wardrobe box. However, unlike Percy, his coat is not blue. It is a very deep, like, wine magenta color. So he just kind of struts out. He's carrying him. Oh God. He's carrying himself, like, very well, but he still kind of has that shakiness from the past anxiety. But he looks at everyone one at a time, and he just goes, "You all clean up fabulously." Well,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but does his face look different? His hair look different?
I mean, he really, really cleaned himself up here, actually. Up until now, he's only kept, like, a very basic care routine of his face, like only shaving, like, every couple days.
Okay.
He never really bothered to, like, brush his hair because it's like we're too busy adventuring. This is like the first time in a long time that you see him actually very well cleaned up.
I didn't know if he was rocking a disguise kit or anything.
The what?
A disguise kit.
You're supposed to be hiding, incognito.
Disguise kit.
Oh, disguise kit. Do I have a disguise kit?
I didn't know.
Hold on.
I'm trying to remember what specific. Before I give away information you don't want to give away, I'm trying to remember what your actual background is.
You're a bard, that's why I was wondering. Between being a bard and a rogue.
I do. Do you need a hand?
Technically, because of your background, you would have access to a disguise kit if you wanted to use it. A disguise kit is effectively a makeup kit.
Okay.
That would also have things like prosthetics and other things like that. So if you wanted to change your appearance, like if you wanted to add a false nose or false eyebrows or something to change the profile of your face, you have access to that.
Okay, I make myself look like Colonel Sanders. Specifically, like, anime husbando, I love you, Colonel Sanders from the dating sim.
Gotcha.
Like, you have a tiny little suitcase that says Professor Balls on it.
Yes.
Oh, my Katie.
So
he just looks at Owie like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
It's
now that we've turned this into a dating
Katie
sim.
saying.
It's kid speak.
This is Katie saying that, not Owie.
I-
We're imitating right off from Higurashi.
I know, I just think it's hilarious if Owie
I'm
actually
sorry.
said that to...
I 100% do think Allie has a collection of like manga that she has in like a trunk or something.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
But yeah, you just see Reggie
Not a
come
bad
out with
thing.
like slicked back white hair. He's got a little like white mustache. He does have glasses on. I'm changing my mind with that one because now disguise kit.
Mhm.
And he's also hidden his ears, so his ears now look completely human. He's no longer half elf.
Okay. So, yeah.
So are you still
Any
still rocking the accent?
No, I'm not.
Perfect.
Oh God.
So,
All right, everyone, let us go to this meeting.
cheerio, jolly good night. Shall
Pip,
we go
pip.
hunting foxes? Sure.
I would judge you, but considering what I had to do to get out of that place unscathed, and Allie, we don't talk about that ever. Please.
Don't talk about what?
Nothing.
So as you guys get there, you're greeted at the door by the waitstaff, and the first thing that they do is they go up to Aoi and they offer to take her wrap, which would be a part of her gown if she wants to give that up. And then another one comes up to Crexney and starts to ask for her wrap or something, and just is looking at, Kuro, Archie, do you have something you need me to take?
Nope, I got it.
All right. And he just kind of wanders off as the other, and you guys watch kind of out of the corner of your eye. As soon as they think they're out of sight, you see the other one just kind of slap him on the back of the head. Goes, "Don't sight it!" And kind of wander off. The maitre d'
I want to get a personalized magnet for you so bad.
The maitre d' goes, "Good evening. What can I do for you? Do you have an appointment?"
Yes, we do, good sir. We actually have a meeting with someone very important. If you would be so kind to let us know.
And he holds up his hand.
Oh?
Forgive me. I did not recognize VIPs of the night. That is my fault. We will make amends for it by the time you leave. Please follow me. And he claps, and you see two other people come. Two gentlemen actually come up to both Aoi and Crexney, and they simply just offer an arm to kind of escort you to your seats.
Durai kind of steps forward and offers his arm to the both of them.
And Aoi, I think you were muted, so I didn't hear what you said.
I said, thank you very much, sir.
And again, Aoi, this would be very typical for you. This is kind of accepted custom in very high society that women are always escorted by someone. So do you want to take one of the server's arms or the escort's arms, or did you want to take Arai's arm?
One arm is going around the server, and the other is going shakily around the right.
Okay.
So we now have the chain of 4 people.
Oh.
Then you start hearing, "We're off to see," and you start skipping for some odd reason. Who knows? So as you guys are kind of taken through the dining room, the dining room is extravagant. There are multiple levels. You start kind of high up, and there's this kind of staircase that descends down. And there's basically about 4 tiers that you walk past as you go down this staircase of different things. And then there's kind of a dining room on the bottom. And then you guys are taken past that. There's other kind of tiers in various places. The levels here are really, really interesting and fascinating to kind of look at from an architectural standpoint and from an aesthetic standpoint. But you guys are taken through all of that. You're taken up another staircase in the back. There's these huge double doors that are opened up, and you see this expansive balcony that is large enough to host probably a small army. But there is only a single table there, a single very large table, and sitting at it is a group of 3 people. In the center is the most kind of rotund person you have ever seen in your life. chins upon chins. He is not so much sitting in his chair as he is enveloping the very large, high-backed chair that he's in. And in front of him is just a spread of food that obviously he couldn't wait for you to show up. So the food, he is kind of in mid-meal.
Why am I suddenly thinking of Crew from Jack 2, Jack and Daxter?
I was going more for a Jabba the Hutt, but we can go that way too.
Yeah,
I was thinking like Mr. Creosote.
Let's keep
That's a
making
name I haven't
references.
heard.
So to his right, your left, you see a gentleman that almost kind of reminds you a little bit of Arai, with that kind of cool cockiness kind of built into them, wearing what on anyone else would look like relatively plain clothes, but on them specifically, it just looks magnificent. And he's just kind of looking at you, all of you, and he seems to have this kind of half a smile just permanently a part of his expression. And then to the large rotund man's left, your right, is another gentleman. This one is significantly taller and kind of lankier. Like long, thin arms, kind of a long torso. They're wearing effectively like a three-piece suit kind of thing that is perfectly tailored, and tailored to the point where you can kind of see the entirety of their frame, and they're a very kind of lanky looking person. You also notice their skin itself is not really pale as much as it is, a better description of it would be more like cloudy. It kind of has this kind of cloud-like essence to it, and the color around their irises is this pale gold. I don't think many of you would have had direct dealings with an Azmar before, but you would recognize from just stories and things like that that is obviously an Azmar. And Arai, you'd recognize an Eladrin anywhere from the other person, so that's obviously Eladrin. Eladrin are not extremely rare in the Sovereignty, but since the Elemental Wars started, because you're at war with their home country, Eladrin don't tend to be super common around the Sovereignty. And as far as the person in the middle, none of you have any idea what in the world he is, other than large.
There's only 3.
Yeah, only 3 people. There are seats for all of you as well. And for the 2 ladies, you are kind of brought to your seats, and they pull your chairs out, and they help you get settled down. For the gentlemen, as soon as you are sat down, a tray comes over, and you can see a selection of drinks are kind of brought over, and they go, "What would you require?"
Ladies, you may order first.
The maitre
take
d'
a
kind of
white
comes over.
wine.
And this is another thing that's kind of weird. Generally, the maitre d' doesn't really ever leave the front of the restaurant. Their job is to kind of run the deal with the customers. But for whatever reason, the maitre d' is here is like, if there is anything that you desire, we can accommodate you. So order whatever is in your heart.
Thank you kindly, my good sir.
So he first goes over to Awe. Ladies first. Madame? Mademoiselle?
I'll let Crutchney go first.
She kind of turns to Crexney. Madame?
I'll take a white wine, please. Surprise me.
Absolument. Mademoiselle?
I'll have an apple cider, please, and possibly Yeah, I'll have whatever you order for my friend here.
Absolument. Monsieur, and he turns to Reggie.
I will have a brandy, if you would be so kind.
Ah bien. Et pour vous manger? Pardon. And for your meal?
I believe I shall have I'll have the duck, if you'd be so kind.
Absolument. Turns over to Smegwick. Monsieur?
I'll take whatever you recommend for red wine, and I'll definitely be having a prime rib.
Absolument. Fantastique choice, sir.
Merci. Tu as une coton.
Sorry, your accent is thicker than I'm used to hearing. I heard coton.
French.
Coton.
Coton?
Coton.
I'm actually not familiar with that particular phrase. What dish is
Oh,
it?
no, it's a wine.
Oh,
red
that's
wine.
why I'm not. That's not why I'm not.
Coton.
Coton. Oh, coton.
Yeah.
Now I recognize it. When I'm not thinking you're ordering food, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Très bien, monsieur.
Merci beaucoup.
Et pour vous manger?
Un poulet aussi.
Poulet aussi? D'accord,
Oui.
d'accord. Bien.
Merci.
Just a question, since like, are they speaking like
French.
French, yeah.
No, I know they're speaking French.
The
Since France doesn't
language,
exist as a Tempest sovereignty.
the language, I will sometimes replace certain languages. This comes actually from Chris Perkins. Dark elves speak French.
Okay.
So technically French is one of the it's not undercommon, but French is one of the elven dialects. It's not Sylvan or anything like that, but I consider elves in general because of just how kind of flowery and pretty French is in general.
Yeah.
It's an elvish language.
Okay,
It
so
is very nice.
They literally have a
uh,
committee in France that their entire purpose
is to make
is to
sure
make
the
sure that
language
French
stays pretty.
sounds pretty, to the point where it is now illegal to use the term streamer
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
in government. Government employees are not allowed to use the word streamer in France. They have a specific, much longer version in French that they have to use, because apparently streaming in French for most people is streaming. Because the word works, but it doesn't sound very French. So they literally passed a law. Government employees and people that work for public businesses have to use this. I can't even remember the phrase anymore, but it's a real thing.
I can't either. It's real. It's long. Yeah.
Oh.
That is not a pretty word. I'm going to have you say 5 words instead.
It's so funny. Quebec is technically the same way, where one of the reasons why giveaways and things like that exclude Quebec is because they have laws in Quebec where the primary language of any business that operates in Quebec has to be French. To the point of, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is like a Dunkin' Donuts kind of thing in Canada. Yep. They are Tim Hortons plural. They're not Tim Hortons possessive, because in French, to make something possessive, you don't add an apostrophe s. You use de to make something possessive. So, Tim Hortons with an apostrophe s, they weren't allowed to use that as their signage in Quebec, because your signage has to be in French first. And so they literally changed their branding and removed the apostrophe because they would not be allowed to operate in Quebec if their names was Tim Hortons possessive. So
Wow.
French, people that speak French in general have really weird, preoccupations with making sure French is important and pretty. Je veux des compétitions. Thank you. I think that's what I was referencing. Mad Spike, thank you.
Yeah.
Je video des compétitions.
Right.
So yes. So anyway, they were jouer en amateur and
Yeah,
direct.
amateur.
There we go. Jouer en amateur and direct. So yeah, instead of streamer, it's jouer animateur en direct. Which again sounds pretty, but streamer, jouer animateur en direct. Welcome to France, folks. So anyway, Smegwick, you would recognize again the actual language itself generally is not used as a trade language or as a major communicative language. It's generally used. It's used by
higher houses.
It's used by elves to talk to other elves and sound fancy. It's what French is in my campaign setting. Is it's a fancy language that elves talk to each other in.
Which is why I know French.
Of girls.
But of girls.
Of girls. So, as you guys sit down, the relatively large, rotund gentleman is sitting there just kind of shoving food into his mouth. If you've ever seen, I think it's Return of the King, where he calls Pippin in and he's just kind of eating while he speaks, and that just kind of really kind of gross scene where everything just looks... That is what you guys are experiencing. Like, he'll pick up a leg of some sort of fowl.
What Denethor did to that tomato.
It's a very large chicken leg if it is. You see him and he sits there and he gets grease all over his face, and then he picks up like an apple, and as he chews it, little spits of it split up, and he's just eating in front of you. And every so often he will like grunt towards you, but try as you might, you kind of look at him and it's like he's trying to speak to me. And for the life of you, you cannot get a single word out of what he does. But every so often, you're like, and he just keeps saying something to you, and none of you can understand what he's saying. So what would you all like to do? The other two seem to be completely silent.
I speak a lot of languages, and that is not one. That's yuck.
Menus, can I just like put it up in front of my face where he's saying I see him?
Eventually, relatively quickly, your drinks come around, and they are very, very good. Those of you that got wine, the wine itself is probably the best you've ever had. Even Reggie, even you who has dealt with luxury, are particularly impressed with the wine selection itself. Is absolutely perfect. The duck that you just have kind of as weird as it sounds, you have a kind of simple duck l'orange. But the duck itself is perfectly crisped. The orange sauce is perfectly balanced. Like, everything about this meal is perfect. There's nothing wrong. Like, the display is perfect. Or the presentation is perfect. The flavors are perfect. Nothing about this you can find any fault in whatsoever. And the same is true for everyone else here, though. If you are not as familiar with kind of high society, you probably won't be able to appreciate it much. Probably Aoi and Reggie are the two that are the most impressed, simply because, again, Aoi, you've been around culture and high society, and even you are kind of blown away with the quality that is presented to you.
Yeah, Reggie, as soon as he like takes that first bite, he just lets out the longest sigh of relief, and for a moment he's like, I'm back home.
Smegwick takes a small cut of his prime rib and he puts it up in like there, and it's like, I'm gonna trust that you wouldn't go through all this trouble to poison us if you didn't want to have a genuine conversation with us.
As you say that, everything stops.
Oh, peachy.
Yeah, I said it.
The serving staff just very
business.
quickly do an about face and walk out. The doors behind them close. You guys feel the presence of magic activate. Anyone familiar with divination magic in general would recognize kind of an anti-divination spell being cast. Effectively.
Cone of silence.
Yeah, and the rotund gentleman, just compared to everyone else that has literally, like, almost like a switch has been flipped, he just continues. And he just keeps eating, no matter what you guys are doing. And you guys,
I look to his two boys, and just like
they're not even acknowledging him. Like they don't look at him, they don't acknowledge him. He could effectively not even be there, and it wouldn't change them whatsoever. The kind of thin, lanky one is just kind of staring specifically at you, Smegwick. Not in an aggressive or angry way, but it is very clear to you that he is focusing on you on purpose. The Eladrin gentleman is just kind of sitting back in his chair. He still has that kind of smirk, that cocky look to him.
Or are they both Are they both sitting? I thought they were both standing.
Sitting. Yeah, they're both sitting.
Oh, they're both sitting.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Nope, my presumption.
So, the lanky one starts. Roar. And the rotund gentleman. That is enough. Leave us. And you watch him just kind of stand up, does an about face, and walks off the balcony, just kind of hops over the railing.
That guy can move?
Are we on the 4th story?
What the
Yep.
heck?
You guys are at least 100 feet in the air. And shortly after he goes off, you watch as a dove kind of flies off.
Magical.
All right, then.
Hoping he'd bounce.
It's nice to see how new faces react to disrespect. You have not disappointed. However, he turns to Smegwick, slightly more blunt than we would have preferred. And the Eladrin finally goes, but I like it. I like it a lot. And he kind of turns towards Smegwick. You're fierce. You're uncompromising. It's a good look for you. I think you and I are going to get along really well. But enough with formalities. You enjoying your meal? It's good stuff, isn't it? He just
No
kinda
complaints.
looks-
No complaints thus far.
It is quite exquisite.
Good, good. We wanted to make sure that you were comfortable. Because sometimes conversations like this, they can get uncomfortable. We don't want you to be uncomfortable. We don't want us to be uncomfortable. So, give you a nice meal, maybe booze you up a little bit, get you relaxed. Then we can talk some business. We're hoping we could get a little bit further into dinner before we started talking shop. But you seem to be very intent on talking shop. To answer your question, Smegwick, there's nothing been done to the food other than
I did not introduce myself to that guy. I definitely clocked that.
Mm-hmm. And the emphasis he put on your name, you get the idea that he did that intentionally. Kind of, hey, Kate the Bishop, so good to see you, Kate the Bishop. Like, he intentionally used your name to let you know. So, Smegwick, you're 100% right. Nothing has been done to the food, except a little prestidigitation. Make it that much tastier for you. So feel free, eat as much or as little as you want. But we need to have a conversation, don't we? Yes, as my companion here has implied, you seem to have started work in our fine city. And obviously, being new to the city, you might not understand some of the more unwritten rules. Generally, it's considered polite before you start working in someone else's house to introduce yourself to the owners.
Well, we definitely would
Are you
have
talking about the
enjoyed to
rat?
do that.
The rat's house?
What my companion here is trying to say is, well, we would have preferred a little bit of a heads up before you guys started working in our town. You know, it's just polite. You come into someone's house, you greet them before you go to the buffet and eat their food. You know? So,
Smegwick kind of goes like he's trying to skirt the issue without, because he like direct without being indirect, or indirect without being direct, going like, well, don't get me wrong, we would have loved to have introduced ourselves, but we weren't exactly given the chance due to certain happenstances with other people.
yeah, and obviously, that problem's been dealt with pretty spectacularly. Again, heads up before you clog the toilet at someone else's house. Generally considered a kind of good thing, or at least after you clog it, you inform, hey, by the way, don't go in there until you send someone in.
Well,
None of those niceties were observed, so we
well,
were.
if I may take the interpretation, someone else already clogged that toilet before we came around. Someone else went into a certain stall that they ought not have gone into, and kind of kicked this whole thing off. But we are more than happy to get on everyone's good side, because that's just good business.
You know, you're right about the good business part. A lot of people kind of misunderstand exactly what this city is. A lot of people see the city, it's like, oh, it's lawless. Oh, it's just where, you know, people go to disappear. And yeah, you can do that. But this city, in and of itself, is a business. And we want the business to run smoothly. And when we have independent contractors just coming in and doing jobs without letting management know anything, well, how is a business supposed to run smoothly when we have employees that aren't working for us that just randomly show up and do jobs? You see the problem that I've got here?
Well, surely you also see the problem with freelancers, as you put it, not having a choice with a job they were given. And perhaps they didn't have any leverage to turn a job down.
Oh, that certainly sounds like an unfortunate situation for you.
Sounds even worse when another employee was operating outside of agreed upon parameters.
Again,
that could have been so much worse for everyone.
We understand somebody who's doing something they weren't supposed to. That was dealt with. We're not really upset about even the way that you dealt with it. We just would have preferred a heads up. So, how does this sound?
I am so curious. What would you have wanted us to do? I'm not being a smartass. I want, like Smigway actually says, I want to be very clear on this. I am not being a smartass. I would have loved to have known if you have protocol set up in place for this.
Well,
I'm fascinated by how you people have this place rigged.
I think we can kind of resolve. The formalities now. Why don't we start off with? Why don't you tell me how you got the job? Because we'd love to hear how that happened.
The flyer on the wall.
Well, the job itself, not really something I could tell you directly, because we weren't exactly approached directly, as such things are in your town.
But you were approached.
I mean, someone has to approach someone in order to get a job at all, right?
Okay, so why don't you tell me about this approach process? How about let's just start with what was the name of the person that you talked to?
Did we even get a name?
You know,
Yeah, I was gonna lean
hate-
over and ask my partner, does anyone here have names?
it could have been Oscar, it could have been Susan,
And you can
but
see.
let's be honest. Would you have expected the name to be real if they had given us one?
So, Smegwick and Reggie, due to your familiarity with, I think, is Reggie the only one that actually has levels of rogue here, or does anyone else have rogue levels?
Reggie currently has. He's got 2 levels in Rogue, but 6 in Bard.
Yeah,
But yes, he
which
does
is
have
fine.
2 levels in Rogue.
So, Reggie, you would recognize Thieves' Cant being spoken.
I do. Yes.
So, the conversation that is happening between Smegwick and this figure who's yet to give himself a name is different than the conversation that you particularly are hearing. And you find it interesting because to you it's rather obvious that your host realizes that Smegwick is not understanding the Thieves' Cant that he's speaking. But the other gentleman has kind of flagged that you seem to understand what the conversation is happening.
So how does this translate to me?
To you effectively, well, the conversation has been talking about the upper conversation has all been about, how'd you get the job and stuff like that. The under conversation has been, we need names, we need descriptions, and we need the location that you guys discovered. And as all this realization is coming, you see the lanky gentleman kind of turn towards the more suave one and just kind of nods over in your direction. And the conversation between Smegwick and this guy just stops like that, and he turns over. So Reggie, God, that's a great name, Reggie. Sounds it sounds like
Two
a
things
name
happen.
from the
Regwick-
core.
Smegwick's about to get pissed off and then immediately goes, oh shit.
Doesn't it? Which
Wait,
is the
hold
upper
on.
conversation.
He called you by your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie's been just kind of like sitting down in his seat with his cane, just like right in front of him. He just kind of like grips his cane a little bit tighter, like, oh crap, they know that name.
So so that's the kind of upper conversation. The Thieves' Cant is we know more than your friends know about you. How much do you want them to know right now? So
And
the way this is going to go is we're going to have 2 separate conversations.
okay,
The upper conversation, if you just say, this is what I'm saying upper, this is what I'm saying lower. Lower's the Thieves' Cant, upper's that. So the upper conversation has been, Reggie, that's a name from the core, isn't it? The lower is, we know how much do you want us to tell your friends about who you really are.
Reggie just kind of gives a little smile. In upper conversation, he says, yes, it is a place where it's always nice to just do business as usual. And the lower conversation is everything that they already know about me. It is not to go any more than that. What is exactly that you want from me specifically?
Okay. It's the upper conversation. I was recently in Lafayette, and I heard the most amazing symphony that just, I mean, it blew my mind with just the talent and the craftsmanship of the musicianship of the musicians and everything. And the lower conversation is, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We want a name and a description of your contact for anonymity. In return, we will pretend that Reggie is your real name.
And knowing Reggie and how he thinks about things, I'm sorry everyone, but I'm just going to make this quite clear. Reggie is going to spill the beans and thieves can't.
Okay. So, your response, upper conversation?
Yes. The music of that place is quite wonderful. I am particularly fond of Cyronis's Fifth Symphony. It is what got me into music when I was a very young lad. And the lower conversation is, unfortunately, I actually cannot literally. This is Evan.
You can just say his description.
Yeah, Evan gives, or not Evan, Reggie gives as best as he can the most detailed description of what the contact looked like. He does not give a name because he also says this in Thieves' Cant. He does agree with Smegwick. For all we know, it could have been a fake name. So names are completely
He also never gave
arbitrary. He also never gave one. And if he did give one, it would be useless to us. So he just gives the best description of who we saw at the time. For all we know, he could be in disguise as well. But this is who we met.
So, because of how much information that is, that's more than can be contained in just a thing. So you guys, for the next 20 minutes roughly, because Thieves' Cant does take a little bit longer to get a message across than just speaking plainly, because of the coded nature. So for the next 20 minutes, Reggie and this gentleman have this really weird conversation that started talking about music, eventually to talks about the finer aspects of brandy snifters, eventually kind of flirts with the idea of billiards and how it tends to be more socially acceptable than standard 9-ball pool. And just the conversation seems inanely random. But by the end of it, the gentleman goes, well, that, it's been great getting to know you, Reggie. We really need to do this again sometime. I think you and I could be really good friends.
We will see where the winds take us, good sir.
And the Thieves' Cant version of that was, good job. When we ask you for information again, be as forthcoming. And there's a hint of a threat in there.
And then my response in my Thieves' Cant is, you'll have to catch me first.
And you see the kind of cocky smile that he's had the entire time fades.
And Reggie just matches it.
Fades for the tiniest of a second. And Reggie, you would catch it instantly because, again, for Thieves' Cant to work, you have to be reading them very well. The rest of you, I'll let you decide whether or not you would have catched just kind of the falling of the mask for the briefest second. Well, this has been lovely. Unfortunately, we have business to attend to. You know, busy all the time. Running a business like this, you just have always got things that you've got to do. But the table is paid for the rest of the night. So whatever you guys want, it's on us. Enjoy the view. You will not find a view like this anywhere else in Abia.
As much as I do appreciate the fine meals spread across us, and he looks back at Reggie after 20 minutes of that bullshit. He was like, is there a names you'd prefer to be recognized by?
Oh, don't worry. When we need to talk, we'll find you. Enjoy. And they both stand up, very formally, kind of bow, and then they walk out the door and leave.
Seeing that weird ass energy and knowing full well that them talking about the price of tea in China had absolutely fuck all to do with us being called into the principal's office.
Look at Reggie.
I understand Smegma doesn't know thieves can't, but is there any? Do I have a shot in hell rolling in insight?
No. The interesting thing about thieves can't, it is the only language other than Druid. What's it called? I think it's called Druidcraft or whatever the
Druidic.
Druidic.
Yeah, Druidic. They're the only two languages in the entire game that is impossible to learn without taking a level in that class. So,
I'm not asking to like crack the code or language on that per se,
because
but like
of that,
No.
without being a rogue, you don't know that thieves can't exists. So to you, you just watched a really awkward conversation. Anytime a conversation of thieves can't happens around people that don't speak it, it just seems like a very socially awkward conversation that tends to be a little bit scatterbrained, that jumps from topic to topic very, very quickly, that they will make jokes that don't land. They will make references that don't quite make sense. There will be non sequiturs randomly thrown in. It just feels like a really awkward conversation. And that's it. Beyond that, there is no possible way without being a rogue for you to even understand that there is a different conversation happening. It just sounded like whatever just happened was a really bad first date that will probably not result in a second one. Like, if there was a second date after this, something went massively wrong in this other person's life where their standards are extremely low.
But noticing the context of the conversation went from conversation. Everyone's focus is just between those two talking.
That's the thing about
it. That's all that's that's all that happened.
It felt really weird, and all of you would recognize that it was really weird. But beyond that, there is no possible way you could understand that he said anything other than that weird conversation.
Well, it looks like you two didn't hit it off. So is everybody gone now? We're just sitting here by ourselves.
Reggie
the
just downs his-
the waitstaff at this point shows up again just to be the waitstaff. They're there in case you need refills on anything or if you want something different. But they're not. Again, another thing that is kind of common in high society is the waitstaff will always be just far enough away that if you need them, they will be there instantaneously. But they're far enough away that they can feign that they don't understand anything that's happening at the table.
Well, Smegwick will I think like after 20 minutes of them just talking backwards and forth, he's just like, all right, he's listening, but he's still having his meal. He puts his napkin on the table and it's like, and he'll say this part out loud because of where we're at, but it's like, well, we're not dead yet, so I'm guessing that's good.
The maitre d' comes over. Would you prefer for us to take away your plate?
Smegwick will just like back away, like allow them to. Like
he kind of snaps, and one of the guys comes over.
Compliments the chef.
They very quickly bring another plate over that just has an after dinner mint on it.
Oh, no more food.
It's worth it, thin.
Would any of you prefer any dessert, or will you be done dining for the evening?
Possibly no dessert for me, but if you'd be so kind as to bring back that brandy you served me before, but leave the bottle for all of us, if you'd be so kind.
Absolument. The table has been paid for the remainder of the night. Would you prefer entertainment?
Oh, that won't be necessary. We won't be staying long. Just a few more minutes as we just kind of finish things up here. But thank you so much for your service, and I tip him 5 gold.
Okay. And as you place the gold in his hand, it disappears. He goes, Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Would any of the guests be requiring companionship for the evening? You have a room reserved or a suite reserved as part of the table?
So maybe Archer decides he's like, I'm good, thanks.
While he asks that, Reggie was taking a drink, and you just hear that.
And again, Reggie, you would be kind of again. It's not. This is another thing that in extremely high society is not an unheard of practice, but it is surprising enough that it was just stated out.
Blatant.
Reggie was high society, but he wasn't that.
Yeah, he wasn't that kind of just obscene kind of wealth.
So this is the first time he was ever been offered that kind of thing. So it still did take him by surprise enough for him to like choke on the brandy a bit.
It's okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, run, pipe.
No, we are fine for now. Thank you so much for the offer.
Absolument. I will have staff waiting just outside the door. They will not be able to hear anything, but simply... And he goes over the table and he just taps twice on it. Twice on the table, they will appear for you.
Thank you so much.
Bonne nuit. And he walks out. The doors close. You feel that familiar tingle of the anti-scrying field.
Okay. That was a weird conversation.
By the way, there is a really beautiful crystal bottle of brandy on the table at this point.
He fills the entire glass to the rim, and then he just like downs the whole thing.
If you've ever had like a really good brandy, that kind of dry smoke, like it's liquid smoke literally, and as it goes down, it just warms everything on its way down. Like, this is the best brandy you've ever had.
And it is, and you just see him like.
And Narai takes the bottle and tops off and fills up his glass again.
And he downs that one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Are you gonna throw up?
You're having a rough day.
All right, you would notice after you fill the bottle, you kind of place it down and you watch the level of brandy slowly starts to rise in the bottle.
Dang, magic. Take the bottle.
Yes, exactly. Quick, hook shot it.
All right. So, on one hand, I think I bought us a little bit more time to keep our heads attached to our bodies.
After that weird ass conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a language within a language with these people. You always got to pick out the subtleties with them. Look, they just wanted details on who it was that we spoke to that forced us into that little situation where we had
to give them any.
You didn't.
Reggie.
Look, it's as you say.
Did you burn us?
It's as you say. We got to stay on everyone's good side.
Are we gonna be on everyone's good side?
The way I see it, if this is between anonymity.
Yes.
Anonymity.
If this is between Misdirection and that other one, they can settle it themselves.
With us in the middle.
Not if we get out of here still.
3.5 days.
Look, we just need to... Look, it should be easy to survive that long. These people take a lot of time because they like to do things perfectly.
You know they're global. We can't outrun them.
It's better than here in the lion's den.
I'd rather outrun thieves than murderers.
Yeah, you say that.
I say that, but like...
These guys are known for being able to get in anywhere they please.
And besides...
Just as much as the other guys. And let's not say either name too much.
And besides, one of them will still kill you. The other one will rob her first and then still kill you.
So,
fair.
since apparently there was something else we were not picking up on, are we still going to have a ship when we get back?
Reggie knocks twice on the table.
Very quickly, a shorter server comes in. Yes.
We would like to thank you and this entire establishment for its wonderful service. We will be making our departure now.
Perfect. Would the ladies like escorts?
I have one, and I'm gonna grab a rye again.
I do as well.
Okay.
Smegwick, when you like talk about escorts, you refer to Arai as an escort. I'm like,
Arai is not opposed.
So they come and they kind of pull out the chairs for the ladies, and they walk you all out of the building. Unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for tonight. As always, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/ChurchOfTrainerJody. So if you've missed any of the episode, you can catch them all there. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today, and I'll see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye.
Bye.